Okay, hi guys, that's Gianpaolo Russo speaking for a new edition of PPC World News, and here we have a very welcome guest, Depesh Mandalia. Hi Depesh.
Hello, how are you doing?
Who will be at Outward Experience next year, on April 2020, and we will look into the news this week with him. Okay, let's start with the first one. Uh, this is a sort of recap article about the possibilities alternative to Google and Facebook to do advertising online. There are more than 16 other platforms here, and I think it's quite a comprehensive recap. 17, yeah, 17. It's just nothing really new about it, but it's a very nice article from John Lincoln. What do you think about this platform? Have you tried something you think is good to test in 2020?
Sure, I mean, I probably tried most of the platforms there. And, one thing I would say to people is, wherever you are right now, whether it's paid search or Facebook or wherever it is, don't get too distracted with too many options. Like there's 17 here, and obviously you can waste a lot of time. But it really depends on which business you're running. So Quora, as a good example, so number 2 on that list, it's actually a really good platform for lead generation. So if you're in B2B, and whether you're doing a service-based business or software-based business, then Quora can be great to answer questions, build up your reputation, and drive free leads. Then if you're doing Reddit, you can do a similar thing there. Affiliates will often add in buy-sell ads, for example. It really depends on what niche you're in. So I would kind of look at those and try and figure out the right platforms for me to test. So Pinterest, number 10, for example, that's great for certain types of e-com. Snapchat is great for apps and maybe again some kind of e-com as well. TikTok is a great influencer platform. So if you've already explored influencer, then TikTok's a great channel to try and build connections with and build those influencer relationships. But if you haven't started doing influencer campaigns, then you might start with Instagram and then progress on to TikTok. So I think it's kind of just having a view of where you are right now and what's the 1 or 2 channels you just want to test with, agree a budget, and then just do some testing and see if it works.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to the next question. Here is an article by Brad Geddes, and it's very nice, this prospect, this table, because he is exploring all the bidding options together with the bidding strategy, what is working together, what is not working together. What do you think about it? I think this table is very well built, and it can be useful to know what it's going to work and what not with which strategy.
Yeah, I think with bidding, it's a case of testing because every product, every audience reacts differently, and then competition matters and things like that. So, whichever platform I've been big testing on, and I was doing Google search 10, 12 years ago, and bidding was a big part of that and getting the right bid level. With Facebook, it's more automated, and you can kind of work on that system, I think, a bit better than Google. But again, it's like don't get overrun with too many options. Test one bid out, see what works, and then just develop it from there. I think the table's good to give you an overall view. It depends on what level you're at. So someone like me and you, perhaps, we look at this table and it's cool, we get it, we understand it. Someone who's maybe not so experienced might just feel like there's too much there. So I think just figure out how much capacity you've got for that testing and how fast you want results, and then push that into your strategy for testing.
Yeah, perfect. Here, an article by Kunal Gupta, who is telling that probably after all privacy concerns with Facebook and all the agreements, all the the settlements he has to do with the Federal Trade Commission, which is given to users more control, more power on the platform, on what platform is tracking. He says that Facebook ads may work a little worse than before. What do you think about it?
Um, I don't think so. And the reason I say that is in 2019, when GDPR came out, there was a big concern that Facebook were giving up so much control to the users. Users could, opt themselves out of advertising. They could, stop people tracking them, etc., etc. What happens is when because we're in this bubble of internet marketing. So when things happen, we panic because we're like, the consumer's going to do this, we're going to do that. There are billions of users on Facebook, and I would guess that 0.0001% of those users will do something, and it'll have no impact on the algorithm. Now, that's on the Facebook side, where Facebook are giving more controls. Where the impact will happen is with cookies. So browser blocking, Apple blocking, etc. That has a big, big impact. But there was an announcement, I think 2 weeks ago, from Google to say, we're going to stop third-party cookies from Chrome. Now, if Google stopped that, and don't forget, Google owned DoubleClick, which is the major tracking platform that uses third-party cookie tracking, they're going to have a solution. So if Google solves that problem, everyone else is going to follow. Facebook has already developed some solutions, so they allow for first-party tracking, which is a setting that you need to change in your ad account, and they've also implemented server-side pixels and kind of doing pixels behind the scenes, so that when the interaction happens with a user, it's not the browser that's sending the cookie data, but it's actually the server that's creating cookies. So there are ways around it, and ultimately, we're in the age of data, and both Google and Facebook and Apple, they all need data, and they'll always find solutions for this as well. So I think the headline is interesting. It gets people reading and maybe starts some controversy, but I don't see a problem.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, let's move to John Luma's article, which enlightened the limitation of the boost button. I've counted 23rd limitations of this way of advertising on Facebook. Yeah, it's quite simple. It's immediate, and I think that's the reason why they did it. But it's very limited. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think John puts it mildly to say that there are limitations. I think advertisers using boost buttons are literally just giving money to Facebook, because I tell you what the problem is. How easy is it for someone who's never run any ads, who owns a store, maybe a physical store, bakery, etc., to start a Facebook adverts campaign? They can literally just log in with a profile, create a page, create an ad account, and just run ads. And because you can now, Facebook, I don't know, 6 years ago introduced the boost button from your page, it made it so much easier for anyone in the world to advertise. The problem is, advertising is a lot more than just putting budgets and ads together. You need to understand your avatar, you need to build a funnel, you need to think about marketing, and when you create your ad account, you need to think about excludes and conversion types and all this kind of stuff. And that's a big problem. My brother owns a house removal firm, for example. He started running ads 2-3 years ago. He started with a boost button, and I'm like, you should have spoken to me before you did that. But he already wasted like £1,000 just boosting stuff, because he thought that's all Facebook was. And I think there are over 7 million advertisers on Facebook. I would say the majority probably rely on the boost button, and it's only the minority that actually understand how ads work. So I think it is a problem. I think Facebook need to educate people a little better that, aside from boosting, you can actually run ads in a better way. And, the stuff that John's put together is like, it's great, it's perfect. But how many of these people that boost will actually read and implement that? I would say probably not enough.
Yeah, totally agree. So on that. Let's move to the other one. This is an announcement about a new functionality in the merchant center, price comparison. It's a very nice functionality. In fact, there are a lot of tools doing this comparison, and I think it's a smart move to internalize it in merchant center.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
See, my problem with Google Shopping is at times it feels like the cheapest price is going to get the most clicks. And I think that damages brands and it makes brands consider things that they shouldn't. So, if this is pushing brands to be thinking about, just trying to beat their competitors on price, I know that Google Shopping can be lucrative, but especially when you're in a saturated niche, you're selling products that everyone else is selling. If price is all you're working on, then you better have a plan for upsells and lifetime value, etc. And if you've got that, then fine, work on price and push your front end price as low as possible. But I kind of warn people to not get too caught up in price discounting just to kind of keep up with Google Shopping results, unless you've got a plan to work on profitability as well.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, another post by Christy Palmer about Pinterest. What do you think? We already said something. What do you think about this platform?
I was one of the first beta testers on Pinterest in 2015. So the company that I was working with, they were Series A funded by the same company that were funding Pinterest. So we got early access to the platform. We scaled Pinterest to about £3,000 a day, which is quite significant even now, like 5 years on. So back then we were doing fairly significant numbers. At the time, we were doing about 100K a day on Facebook. So just to give you an idea of the difference. But what we found with Pinterest is, and still the same thing applies. It comes down to creating content which is shareable and is visually good. But the big advantage we found from Pinterest was the long tail effect of running those ads. So when you run an ad on Facebook, it appears on the newsfeed and then it disappears. That's it, it's gone. Whereas when you run an ad on Pinterest, people can repin and the organic impact of that just continues. So, getting the way I see Pinterest is right in the middle of paid search and Facebook ads. So just like paid search, you're bidding on keywords, for example, or categories or something. So you have some context. So for example, someone that's searching for wedding gift ideas or things like that. But then it's also a visual platform like Facebook as well. And I think Pinterest had so much promise and potential. The problem was they struggled to get enough users on. So I think Pinterest is good for specific niches, especially, I would say at the time, and I think the same is still true, majority of their users are female. The majority of people are related to events or planning, ideas, inspiration, and things like that. So it's kind of just figuring out whether it's right for your brand and doing some research and seeing what others are doing, and then testing ads out, but just really working hard on that on the content as much as the targeting.
Yeah, very visual concepts. Okay, let's move to the next post. Facebook conversion campaigns. This is very nice post in which I don't recall the author, Alison Shoemaker, is explaining why you need to set pre-conversion goals to optimize your campaigns. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that tell you when you run a conversion campaign, only go after purchase. The problem with that is it's also the most expensive event to go for. It really depends on what your margins are like, how well your funnel is set up, your conversion rate is performing, what kind of CPMs you're getting. Obviously, if you can get purchase pixels to work, then absolutely go for it. But the thing is, I think people miss out on the opportunities to optimize for other parts of the funnel. So in a typical e-commerce funnel, you have someone that lands on the product page who buys a view content. Then you have the add to cart, initiate checkout, payment info, and purchase. And we always test to see which conversion events are working well for our testing campaigns and also our prospecting campaigns. Often, when the average order value is higher, we will optimize for a funnel pixel event that's slightly higher up the journey. So it might be optimizing for people that are likely to add to cart or initiate checkout, and then remarket to them, retarget to them based on people that will either purchase or come back to the site. Because the thing is, if you're selling a $200 plus product, what's the chances that you're going to find someone who's in buying mode and is going to buy at that particular time on that click? The chances are fairly low. If it's a $20 product, it's going to be fairly high. Then you have to think about how long it will take someone to convert. So we're working with a client right now. They sell products in the baby wear niche. On average, it takes 2 to 3 days for someone to convert. And actually, whatever ROAS we have within 2-3 days doubles in 14 days. So there's a big tail effect of people that have seen ads. We keep communicating with them, and we know 5, 10, 15 days down the line, it will continue bringing in sales. So, their average order value is about $100. It's not that big, but it's a considered purchase. So I think, the strategy makes sense, but it's just kind of thinking about how you apply it and whether your funnel is the right funnel for this strategy as well.
Yeah, perfectly agree. Okay, let's move to the last one, which is money. It's recent news, piece of news. 2 days ago, Google decided to make public the new Google Ads partners requirements criteria. There are some big changes, and it's not so important to go through, but you have to have a look to it. So have a read to this post. What would you think about certifications in general, Facebook ones and Google ones? Do you think it's I think you would suggest to a professional or not?
I've spoken to Facebook for a couple of years now to get them to create a certificate. They created one last year or maybe a year and a half ago. So I'm a fan of them in the sense that if Facebook themselves or Google themselves properly validate the agency, validate their revenue numbers, validate their customer retention, the accounts, etc., then I'm a big fan of it. And I think Google do that, and so do Facebook. That for me gives a level of credibility. So, for example, my agency SMC, we're a premium partner at Facebook, and that's the highest tier you can get. That means that we passed certain criteria. But Facebook don't share that. That's part of the problem. So if I say to a client or someone that we're a premium partner, it doesn't mean anything to them because they can't go away and say, right, what is a premium partner? What does it mean? What does it include? Someone who's a preferred partner is a level down, but there's nowhere that says that this is what a premium partner is, this is what a preferred partner is. And I think it's better if Google and Facebook and these kind of platforms can clearly point customers towards what that actually means, because then if like I'll give you an example. Like we might pitch for a particular client account and we say we're a premium partner, we've got full access to Facebook, the policy teams, all that kind of stuff. And then another agency comes along and they says, oh, we're a preferred partner, and we're going to undercut that agency by 25%. There's no reference point for that customer to go back and say, what's the difference in what I actually get from Facebook? So I'm a big fan of transparency of what the accreditation is, and then what the actual scores are for the agency as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Depesh, and bye to everyone. May the ROI be with you, and see you in Bologna in April. Ciao.
Absolutely. Thank you.